Hey, Wanderers. Here I am back again in the comfort of my house. So, Adepticon's all over, but it really keeps on giving. What we're going to go through today is looking upon the massive amount of loot. Well, maybe not massive amount. I've seen some other guys coming away with a lot more than me. But I'll show you through all the bits and pieces anyway. And then afterwards, we'll talk about it a little bit more.
So when you go to Adepticon, you got three ways to get in the door. You can just buy your weekend pass for I think it was $30, or then they have what they call the premium pass, which gives you a loot bag. There is also beyond this a VIG or a very important gamer pass, which gets you an even bigger loot bag. So you can see there that I got into the mid-level one, and the cool things that they include, of course, is the badge, and then this pin right here, which is commemorative, super shiny. Shows off that you were there, and you can wear that for years to come in your nerd pride. So that thing is quite cool. Oh, these little things aside here, these are dice from the Shadespire game, because I got a chance to try that game out on the Wednesday night when I was there. So they had extras of these things, and I don't know. I guess there'll be extras once I buy the Shadespire game in the future. Now, let's go through all the little things that came in the loot bag and other freebies that I came across. Let's start with these things right here. So these are sprues of, I guess, British soldiers. They're done by Warlord Games. So you can tell there that there's 5 of them on each sprue, so 2 sprues. That was very generous of them. Also, I have a Guild Ball badge. I'm not a Guild Ball guy, but, you know, if I want to jazz up my nerddom, then that's a cool thing to do too, I suppose. They gave a box of these Micro Art Studio base systems in here. It says 10 of them in this box. And they just sort of plug into deep bevel bases, like you can see there. I think I'll make some good use of these. There's some gremlins that could hang around in the mucky swamps, because these can easily be turned into swampy bases, even though they advertise them as forest ones. The Battlefront Games guys gave us a Flames of War book. Sorry, you're getting a little bit of glare off the lights here, but pretty good looking production. Artwork is good. You get pictures of models, demonstration of the game. I used to play Flames of War years back. I guess I'll keep this around and give it a new edition and see if that sparks my interest again. But generous of them to add that. Also had a novel which I tossed out, but it was for Wild West Exodus, but I didn't get any interest in reading that. Down here, let's go this way. Elric's Hobbies, they do a lot of resin cast stuff. So I got 2 of these things, along with the package in the bag. This other one up here was actually given to me when I was sitting through a hobby seminar with Kirill Kanaev. So they just came around and they said, hey, we got loot. And we said, yeah, we like loot. And that's how that happened. A few other things that came in the bag. Over here, these guys do a game called Wreck Age. And you can see there's a motorcycle in there. What I didn't notice until I got home is this piece that says, come and stop by our booth and get a free rider. Well, I didn't do that, so I got no free rider. This is a curious thing too. Again, let's see if I can cut down some glare on this, but Knuckle Duster Miniatures. They have in here a cowboy orc, which is a pretty unique idea in itself. So that's kind of a cute model. There's a couple others here. This is a tank ace for something called Star Troopers. Pretty simple model by the looks of it. You can see them all in the background. Maybe that's just their stock trooper. There is actually one over here that is called the Tank Ace. Here we go. This one's done by Victoria Miniatures, and she did this as a exclusive for Adepticon. So that one's a little bit more of a detailed model than the other one. Looks good. Let's move that aside for a second. Here are a fairly cool werewolf model. You know, there's not a lot of great werewolf models in the world, but this one's pretty active. Looks similar in some ways to some of the ones that the Hordes people do. But I got 2 of those because there was another buddy of mine that didn't care for it and tossed it my way. And then this little package from Ninja Division. They do a lot of chibi sort of models, and they do a game called Drunken Quest. So here's a little froggy that's in there. Maybe we can see him better on this side. Yeah, there you go. What was funny about this is they included a little punch card in here that says, if you go buy from the beer cart at Adepticon and you get 6 punch cards, then you can come by and get a free copy of the Drunk Quest game. I'm not such a drinker, so I didn't take advantage of that, but a smart idea from them and good marketing. Speaking of which, as an aside, the same beer cart on Thursday, when a lot of weird games were kicking off, they gave away a whiskey golem just for buying a beer. So I spent a premium amount on a Guinness, spent $8, and I got a Guinness and I got a whiskey golem. So that's pretty sweet, and an excellent gesture from the guys that do Malifaux. Now, more Malifaux stuff. These are the Will-o'-the-Wisps. That's a new release thing that they packaged into all the VIG gamer boxes. So it wasn't part of my premium package, but I got these from a pal who wasn't too fired up about Malifaux, and I got those from him. Made a couple other trades too, because in every box, including my own premium one, there was one of these mystery boxes. And the one that I got was this one here, Dr. Dufresne, which is an alternate for McMorning. But I swapped a couple other things with other guys and got this Misanthrope, which is another exclusive, and then an alternate style of Firestarter. So that was pretty sweet to gather a few of those things. I'll find ways to make use of those in Malifaux games. And this other bunch here that's all in these plastic baggies, those weren't actually part of the package, but this is another good friend that was real generous with me. And these are all Raging Heroes, Toughest Girls in the Galaxy models that I got. I don't know if they're really worth going through right here, but once I start painting them, I'll show them off a little bit better. But a good mix of stuff, good textures to try and paint on and explore. So, quite looking forward to them. Now, let's look forward to... before I switch over to the stuff that I bought, I also want to say that even in the premium box, the Fantasy Flight Games guys gave away a game called Rune Wars, which is their up-and-coming sort of mass battle miniatures game. A huge box, though. And I could not justify putting it into my luggage and paying the overweight fees, or even buying an extra piece of luggage and paying the freight fees that the aircraft charges nowadays. So I eventually gave that away to a guy that I played in the 9th Age tournament and made him happy instead. But that's a good example of the generosity of what goes on in these loot bags that you get at Adepticon. Lots of toys, lots from different places. So really generous from those people that were all involved. So now we're going to move over to the purchase stuff, which is a smaller pile. Let's start with this Wild Ones box set. This is a McCabe alternate that they created that is sort of done in the style of punk heroes of old. It includes models like Rollins Black in a couple different ways, and the Ramones. This Cherry Bomb model is actually a pretty sweet one with her Tommy gun. But this is only available at events or through other special purchases. So this was an opportunity for me to snap that up. Also, they included as a freebie with that this other alternate model for a usual model called Rafkin. That's part of the Neverborn faction. So she's called Rowan Wilson, and sort of a much cooler model than the regular Rafkin one. So I'm happy about that one. Also for the airbrush, the Badger booth was selling all their wares there, and apparently this is a pretty highly sought after or well, I guess well revered primer for the airbrush. So I bought that thing. Then over at the Cool Mini or Not booth, I bought these little guys. So this was just a little package that they use for the Rum and Bones game. And for single piece plastic models, these are actually pretty sharp. I don't know if my video is going to do justice to them or which color is best for you to look at here, but I think they're pretty good. They're pretty sharp. So these were $20 to get the 3 of them. I thought I'd give them a try and see what they're like. But the true test of painting is going to come with these two girls right here. Let's pull these a bit closer. So these are done by scale 75, and they unsurprisingly are a 75 mil scale. So they'll stand about 5 inches tall. This one here I'm most particularly excited about because it's got lots of different textures of cloth, metal, feathers, flesh tone, of course. Not that there's any less going on in this one, but But yeah, both of these models are going to be used for stretching my paint skills. So anyway, there we go. That's the loot that made it back in my luggage from Adepticon this year. And I feel pretty blessed that I got all those things. But clearly, there is lots to do. So now that I've showed you my swaths of loot, and you can see there's plenty to do there, let's take a quick poll. If you wouldn't mind putting a comment down below and encouraging me which deserves to be painted the first, or even just tell me which one's your favorite out of the loot stuff that I got, things that you would have been excited to get, and maybe also throw out an idea of whether that's enough to entice you to pay for the premium package or even beyond into the VIG gamer package if you were to be an attendee of the great Adepticon. Anyway, signing off for now.